Welcome back, and we are back with Congressman Jim Jordan, the ranking member on the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee. Congressman, we just talked about the State of the Union happening this upcoming Tuesday. We're previewing that today. Another anticipated event this week was the appearance of President Trump's former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, before your committee. That's not happening now. Why not? Give us a status check. You sent a letter to your colleagues at the DOJ to find out why this is being moved. Tell us what you want to know.
Well, yeah, we do know he is coming in a closed-door hearing in front of the House Intelligence Committee, but he was supposed to be in an open hearing in front of the Oversight Committee this Thursday. That's been postponed. We don't know if it'll be on or not. Looks like it's not going to happen. I think it's interesting, though. The Democrats made a big deal of this, having Michael Cohen in an open hearing in front of the Oversight Committee a few weeks back, made a big announcement. Their first big hearing, their first big witness, coming to testify in front of Congress, and yet in 31 days he's going to go to prison for lying to Congress. So, look, Michael Cohen, our staff met with his lawyer, Lanny Davis. Mr. Davis told our attorneys on the committee that Mr. Cohen couldn't talk about any of the investigations. Think about that. If you can't talk about any of the investigations, what are we going to ask him? So I think it was all designed, and still is all designed, to come in and have Mr. Cohen say bad things about the president. I don't know that that's something that a congressional committee should be doing. We'll see if he makes it or not.
I see. So this is a lot more bluster and PR so that we can have a hearing to hear him trash President Trump. Let me ask you, because I believe it's almost a year to the day that Adam Schiff, now the head of the Intel Committee, sent a letter disputing all of the things that you and your colleague managed to uncover about FISA abuse, about what the behavior was from this cabal of people at the top of the FBI and the DOJ during the 2016 election. They've been disputing your facts for a year and a half right now. But we learned a lot after the Bruce Ohr testimony. Tell us about it.
No, exactly. Adam Schiff did his memo 1 year ago. And remember, his memo was to try to undermine what Devin Nunes in his memo had to say. And in Schiff's memo, he says this. He says the Republicans mischaracterize the influence of Bruce Ohr on the whole process and talk about a misleading timeline relative to Mr. Ohr. When we deposed Bruce Ohr, he shared three key facts with the FBI that I think disprove Mr. Schiff's memo. He said, first of all, Fusion was connected closely with the Clinton campaign, Fusion GPS, who put together the dossier. He said, my wife, Nellie Ohr, works for Fusion GPS, and the person Fusion hired, Christopher Steele, has a deep bias against the president. So much so that Christopher Steele told Bruce Ohr himself, because Bruce Ohr met with him several times, that Christopher Steele was desperate to stop Trump. So those three key facts: Fusion's connected with the Clinton campaign, his wife Nellie Ohr works for Fusion, and Chris Steele, the guy who wrote the dossier, has a deep bias against the president. Bruce Ohr communicated that with the FBI, also with the Department of Justice, specifically Andrew Weissman, who's on Mueller's team. And the most important fact, Maria, is that he communicated those key pieces of information to the FBI and the DOJ prior to the election, more importantly, prior to when the FBI and the Department of Justice went to the FISA court to get the warrant to spy on Trump's campaign. So that is huge.
Yeah, that's huge, because for a long time, Adam Schiff has been saying, oh, they didn't know that this was a Clinton paid for document. They found out after September. But we know from this testimony that, in fact, meetings were happening as early as July of 2016.
Adam Schiff specifically says in the memo that Bruce Ohr's communication with the FBI, with anything relative to the dossier, took place after the election and after the October 21st FISA application was taken to the FISA court. That is not accurate based on Bruce Ohr's testimony to us in his deposition.
Well, you are now in the minority. You no longer have subpoena power on the Republican side. Where's the accountability for this?
Well, we're going to keep doing everything we can as Republicans. You're right. I don't think Jerry Nadler and Elijah Cummings are going to push and try to get to the bottom of this. But we're going to keep doing everything that we think needs to be done to get the truth out to the American people. We've specifically asked the Justice Department to give us the okay to release all the transcripts from Andy McCabe to Bruce Ohr to Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, Nellie Ohr, all the people we've talked to. We've asked the Justice Department for that. We're still waiting on that. We also need to know what Mr. Huber's up to, frankly. John Huber, who was appointed to look at how the Clinton investigation was handled at the Justice Department, and maybe more importantly, how the FISA process were there abuses in how this FISA was done, specifically relative to Carter Page?
Well, last week we had your colleague, Congressman Devin Nunes, on the program, and he said, look, he's happy that the DOJ is recognizing that lying to Congress is a crime, which is the reason Michael Cohen is going to jail, but that maybe you should start questioning and bringing back people like the list you just named, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, Andrew McCabe, because did they lie to Congress?
Well, there's some discrepancies, some things we'll have to look at in their testimony. I think there's some concerns there. We do know that Jim Baker, former chief counsel at the FBI, is the subject of an investigation by the Justice Department, and obviously Andy McCabe is also under investigation by the Justice Department. So we'll see how those two cases shake out as well.
What is your take on Bill Barr coming in as the new Attorney General? Will he seek the truth?
I hope so. I've not spoken with Mr. Barr. You know, I think he did a nice job in his confirmation hearing. I think he'll get confirmed here sometime, I believe, in the next week and a half. So we look forward to him getting to that position and looking at all this information we've uncovered in our congressional investigation. It's important that I think he examined everything. Remember, we've interviewed 14 witnesses over the last year. Started with Andy McCabe in December of 2017, all the way up through Loretta Lynch in December of 18. And all the key players, Jim Baker, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, Bruce Ohr, Nellie Ohr, all the key players in between, there's some important information that I'm sure and I hope that Mr. Barr will look at and then move from there.
Within Adam Schiff's letter, his response, it says that Bruce Ohr was a minor player.
Not true. He met and talked with Christopher Steele and Glenn Simpson. Glenn Simpson, the founder of Fusion GPS, and Christopher Steele multiple times. And after each and every encounter that he had with Christopher Steele or Glenn Simpson, he went directly to the FBI and briefed them on what that conversation was about. At least 13 times he did that. He was not a minor player. In fact, he took evidence. He was part of the chain of custody of evidence, certain things that he took from his wife and from others and then passed to the FBI as part of this investigation. He's a major player, and for Adam Schiff to try to downplay his influence is absolutely wrong. Really
quickly here, Congressman, Robert Mueller's report, when are you expecting it? Can it be credible without him looking at what you've called FISA abuse?
Well, I think there's real concerns with how the FISA process was handled. We'll see when it comes public. What I do know is also another big hearing this week. Matthew Whitaker, acting Attorney General, will be in front of the House Judiciary Committee on Friday. These are some questions we plan to ask him as well, see if he'll give us any indication of when Mr. Mueller's report will in fact be completed. Because I believe it was he who said it's getting close. Yeah, Matt Whitaker did. He said it was getting close. So we'll ask him. I'm sure he'll get asked about that this Friday when he's in front of the House Judiciary Committee. We will be watching that. Thanks very much, Congressman. Good to see you this morning. You bet, Maria. Congressman Jim Jordan joining us. Meanwhile, President Trump's been very vocal after House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said that the president will not see any money for the border wall.
I think Nancy Pelosi should be ashamed of herself because she's hurting a lot of people. I think the Democrats should be ashamed of themselves. Now, in all fairness to the Democrats, many of them want the wall, and I see it. They're just dying to say what they want to say.
So are there other Democrats who might be willing to break with their leader to strike a wall?